welcome Madhu Kishwar. Madhu Kishwar is a professor, works in CSDS. You started Manushi, the little magazine, in the late 70s. I remember seeing a little booklet kind of thing.
No, it was a regular journal.
Magazine.
Yeah.
And then now, of course, it's a website, manushi.in. And you do a lot of current stories, which are also very controversial. And your new book, which is on Modi and Muslims. And I found that you've done a lot of hard work, a lot of research in putting it together. It's a heavy book, and I hope people get to read it. Now, first I want to ask you about what happened at NewsX. That was your latest controversy. I mean, you're always going from one controversy to the next. You're a controversy queen.
Am I?
Yes, absolutely.
I thought I sit in my little corner.
Yeah, in that little corner where little firecrackers are going off all the time.
But as I said, I stay in my little corner. I have never demanded big space. And if people get upset at what I say or do, it's their problem. That's
so
the least
what happened in NewsX? Because
what happened is that as soon as this book came out, within a day or two of it, Mr. M.D. Nalapat, who I've known for many long years, his mother was a Manushi subscriber and friend, and he also was familiar with it. And we have many common friends. He called me and said he wanted to meet me, and that he had read some of my earlier writings or familiar with my work on Gujarat, and that he wanted to come and discuss things with me. So he came to my house, and I described to him how I went about doing this work, and I mentioned how I had taken the trouble to video record almost every interview, except those who refused to, and some people, some senior bureaucrats in Gujarat didn't, but every fisherman, every farmer, every taxi driver, every teacher, school teacher, whoever I interviewed in Gujarat, including Narendra Modi himself, I video recorded, because I knew that no matter what you say about Gujarat, unless you're demonizing Modi, they'll pounce on you and say this is not true. So I had this in mind that when I do this book, I will, if anybody challenges me on facts, I will just put the video on YouTube. Because unlike Teesta Setalwad's witnesses, none of my witnesses or people who have given me interviews describing the contemporary situation in Gujarat are likely to...
what do you say, unlike Teesta?
Unlike Teesta. See, most of our witnesses actually went hostile and said she misled us. She wrote wrong testimonies on our behalf. We didn't even know she was doing all of it in English. She distorted, she twisted. And since, even in my activism, whether it's cycle rickshaw pullers or street vendors, whenever I take up an issue, I make sure that every testimony is video recorded, which is why even our cycle rickshaw pullers could give the judges and lawyers a hard time. None ever broke down or turned hostile.
So this guy from NewsX came to see you.
Yeah,
and you told him that you've got all this material.
I told him that I got all this material.
So was it your proposal or his proposal?
No, not my proposal.
So they said, give us the tapes.
Yeah, see, I didn't even know who and what is NewsX. I hardly knew its background or history or its political connections.
You didn't know who it's owned by? Or
No, I didn't know. I'm not that well informed because I'm not a media insider. You have to understand, I don't earn my living from journalism.
When you associate with someone, the basic thing is to find out, like somebody calls me and asks for an interview and they tell me a company's name, my first question is, who owns it?
See,
in today's climate, how can you not take that precaution?
Firstly, MJ Akbar is involved with this channel. MJ is an old friend. Ram Jethmalani is involved. Again, Ram is an old friend. And Monu Nalapat, I've known long years. And
so MJ
we have
Akbar,
had
BJP, Ram Jethmalani, BJP, all right, and this third name.
MJ is just now BJP. I mean, he wasn't really BJP. Ram is hardly
we're talking
any
about
party.
Just now.
No, but Ram is still out of BJP. Ram is his own man. You know it better than me. He's not bound by anybody's discipline. He's a loose cannon. So to say that Ram is BJP just doesn't make sense. And these are known names. The point is, every channel will have some or the other business connection.
So they asked you.
He asked me. He got very excited. Now, I didn't realize that he was excited only about Narendra Modi's interviews. For me, interviews from villages, from cities, of people in Gujarat were far more important and enriching, which is what is going to come in my second book. A lot of that is going to come in my second book. And they said, we want to do a series and this is great material, you have a gold mine, why are you sitting on it? So I said, I had done it with a view to backing my research-based books. I wasn't quite, because had I intended it for TV or movies or documentary film, I would have taken a professional photographer. I did all the video recording myself, firstly because I didn't have much money.
On what, a handycam?
A handycam, Sony handycam. That's why I'm invisible. No matter who I'm talking to, I'm invisible.
So then what happened?
So what happened is that he arranged meeting for me with Mr. Kartikeya Sharma and his father. They asked me to visit their home. Where is it? Jurbagh. Anyway,
No idea.
where I went there, and just as I didn't know them, they didn't know me. So they were pretty much also ignorant about my existence, which that's what they said. Or maybe they were pretending. Anyway, the long and short of it is that, in fact, I realized the connection. You won't believe it. I'm that naive or stupid, I don't know, or ill-informed. When I saw these beautiful paintings in their home, beautiful paintings, and I couldn't take my eyes off. And they said, you know where they're from? They're from Tihar jail. So I said, Tihar? And they said, oh, Manu, who's in jail. I didn't even know that connection when I went to meet.
Oh, Madhu.
Of course, kasam se. I'm telling you.
You don't deserve to be heading Manushi. You don't deserve to be writing books if you don't even do your basics.
No, but I like to see if people invite me, and I am like that.
Tomorrow you'll be having lunch with Daud? And say, I didn't know.
No, I could have lunch with Daud. I do have very close interactions with, for example, Gilani Sahab and that entire Hurriyat. I engage with all kinds of people. I don't believe that, sitting with somebody, I become polluted, because I'm sure of my credentials. I have a long track record. And I'm not the kind who falls for carrots. I'm not the kind...
No, what do you gain by associating yourself with people whose credentials are questionable?
But tell me, NDTV's credentials are not very great either.
Okay,
CNN,
we'll
IBN is not.
We'll get to that.
I'm saying
We'll
all
get
of
to
these
that.
TV channels have strange credentials.
Let's zero in on
so where am I going to get the purest, perfectest somebody?
That was
I only can take care of my credentials.
I said when people were objecting to me going to NDTV with my story, and you're using my argument, and it's valid for you and it's not valid for me. However, let's go back to what went wrong with NewsX.
Okay, very simply this. We had several meetings. They asked me to bring a proposal. I mean, how would I made it clear that I'm not selling the footage. And, 5 lakhs is hardly an amount. It wouldn't even have covered the cost of my travel. If I was, this is spread over, mind you, 15 months.
So how much did they pay you?
No, I'm saying, I'll tell you. The first time when we met, there was no talk of payment at all. In fact, ask Rajat. I had twice offered it to him, all free of cost. In fact, I thought no other TV channel would take it. And Rajat at least knows Modi. He's an old friend of Modi. And twice I told Rajat, I have great footage from Gujarat. I wasn't just peddling or selling Modi footage or offering Modi footage. I was saying, I have real good stories, rich stories.
No,
why
so
don't
get
you
to
use
the
them?
point. You're saying...
No, I'm saying he didn't take it. I offered it free. Similarly, I didn't go to negotiate any price.
So then what went wrong?
So what went wrong is that they made me sign a contract, at first offering me a princely sum of 5 lakhs, but the idea was they would take from my footage whatever they needed for first 6 series. They said they wanted to make maybe 20, 30, but first one, the contract is for 6 episodes. And since I had transcribed all the interviews, I offered them the transcripts and said, whatever you tell me out of which you need for the first 6, I will give you that footage. That was how it was. And they asked me, I said, I have a certain plan of action. I gave them one after the other proposals. I was a little, not little, I was pretty disturbed right at the start when I saw that none of them would even bother to read my proposal. You know, I took it very seriously. Episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 15 ka maine unko kam se kam diya. Expecting them, since I've made about 15, 20 documentaries, I have some idea of what it takes to make documentary material. They wouldn't even read it. And they would start lecturing me on what they wanted to do about it. But they had no clue. They had not read my book and they were lecturing me. Now, I should have taken a hint that all they want to do is to steal the 12, 13 hours of video recordings with Narendra Modi and the rest could go hang because then they could splash it their own way. But I'm slow, honestly. Because Monu Nalapat, who is, as I said, an old friend, he made it out as if I'd done such precious work, it's so historic, that they value it so much.
So let's go back to what went wrong.
So what went wrong is from day one, we started, once the contract is signed, we started battling over how it is to be shaped. It went 10-15 din back and forth, back and forth. And I insisted it had to be done in a certain sequence, in a certain way. It couldn't be just blasting Narendra Modi's interviews. There were a lot of supporting material. For me, it was not enough that Narendra Modi says this, that or the other about himself. Because everything he told me, I had either checked prior, because I didn't meet him for 6 months while I was doing the study, or I checked subsequently. If he told me they did X or Y, I went to those villages or went to those regions to check it out. For me, that supporting material was very important and they had no use for it. But I took time to catch on. Now what happens is they're not following this, then we battle it out. I insist they do it in a certain sequence. And from day one, okay, 2-3 things that caused huge dramas and explosions. You can check with NewsX and India News. I actually cried, broke down. I'm not the kind who cried. There were scenes galore. I threatened to walk out. From day one, I'll tell you. First is that they projected it as the one and only interview with Narendra Modi on Godhra, on controversial. I told them repeatedly, it's conversations. It's not an interview. I haven't taken this interview yesterday or day before. This is
what would
spread
you call
over.
that format? Because it wasn't an interview.
It is conversation.
And they hyped it as
I didn't like it. I made them change it on the second day. If you notice, they hyped it. Godhra was the big hype. I said, for me, the big story is the 4 months before Godhra. That tells me the DNA of the man.
But didn't you feel used that they're taking material like this and doing whatever they felt like, and you were aware of it, no?
No. I used to sit in their studio on a daily basis, insist. We had battles royal every single day. I threatened to walk out. I threatened to every second day. Secondly, you see, now look at the first day's program. In English, it was titled by their own, Decoding Narendra Modi. And then they didn't have my name, either in Hindi, Narendra Modi ek Khoj, and that's it. I said, whose Khoj? Are you claiming it's NewsX or News India? You haven't done a thing. Even the old archival footage from 2001, 2002, I gave you. Every single...
So you didn't like the fact that they did not
But that
put
was
your
the
name in.
least of the problems, okay? They on subsequent days they added my name. Secondly, I had insisted that they will admit it's copyrighted to Manushi, that they cannot use it outside of this program. This program too has to be done in collaboration with me. I will shape it. They can't do it any which way they like because, you know, I didn't want this puppy topi thing again. कोई भी लेके जैसे उसका
So they said that you were overstepping your
No, but this was their
editorial bounds.
agreement. It was their agreement. And I was sitting in the studio. They were
according
bringing
to their agreement, according to NewsX, they said that they had made it clear that you had no editorial
That's nonsense.
control.
They're liars,
Okay.
you know. I mean, if they weren't liars, I wouldn't have to suspend the program. And it's not even
But do you think it was a good program? And this was research. It didn't work.
That's their problem. See, I'm saying
Why
I would
did
have
you
done
give
it
them something
differently.
which was so half-baked?
Firstly, you don't understand.
Why didn't you get a real interview with Narendra Modi? He wouldn't give you an interview?
No, firstly, I didn't. That was not my aim because
No. Why didn't you? If you want to give Narendra Modi's point of view to the world, why didn't you get an interview with him?
My point of view was different. when I started my research, I told myself for 6 months I don't even want to meet him. I didn't know him before. I hadn't even spoken to him for 2 minutes. It's only after 6 months when I knew the answers to most important questions. I knew the answers to Godra. I had done my study. I knew his development model. I had gone from village to village.
No, that's all okay.
So I didn't need to grill him like you grill like Arnab Goswami. That's
you
not
don't
my
need
aim.
to grill him. There's no reason why it's either black or white. You don't have to grill a person to get an interview. Why didn't you get a fresh interview with him?
No, but I'm not interested. My interest is something else.
You're not interested in an interview with Narendra Modi? Please make note of that, Mr. Modi. She's not interested in an interview with you.
I was interested in understanding the man and how his mind works. I already knew how his work works. I already knew the impact of his work. I talked to his colleagues, bureaucratic colleagues, his political colleagues, school teachers, old friends, farmers who he knew, people whose homes he had stayed.
So didn't you feel odd selling this bad footage?
Please understand, nobody wants to hear Narendra Modi in any other but demonic light. And I thought these people were genuinely interested in showing the man as he is. And he comes out, to my mind, I find those conversations very touching.
That may be fine, but you know, a politician who's allowed to speak without a give and take and without challenge does not raise credibility. If you were there...
I knew the answers, why should I challenge him?
No, but then don't give it to the world to see.
No,
don't expect
but
that
the world
credibility
wants to see it.
But
Madhu,
you have to give the balance.
Want it.
I want it. The question is, I want a balanced interview.
You have no idea what hunger there is for among people to hear what he has to say without being grilled and hauled over the coals.
He's saying it every day on his rallies.
That's
people
not true. Rally is different than what he's talking.
Well,
if you don't see the difference, people do, let me tell you.
Difference of what?
Between what he says and how he projects himself.
Let me tell you what
an
you
election
gave to
rally
NewsX,
is not the same.
What you gave to NewsX was research work and not on par with any kind of an interview or anything which would be considered of journalistic quality.
You may not
if you
think
don't
so.
know
A
the
lot of
difference,
people
you
think
should.
so. I'm sorry. I do a different
journalism.
journalism.
One good review that you got.
Firstly, I don't care because those
then
who are
a lot of people.
No,
who
excuse me. There is a larger audience than handful of journalists in Delhi.
You were criticized roundly.
I don't care. These are people whose certification I don't care for, whose journalism I despise.
Who like your stuff.
No. I have let it out in the open. Lakhs of people are seeing it. I couldn't care less.
That's very arrogant, Madhu.
No.
Because
But
if somebody
I
is giving you feedback...
No, but please understand, Madhu. You have to understand me on my terms. The journalism that I rejected at the founding years of Manushi, most of my interviews, please read my interviews, even with Mani Shankar Iyer, even with rickshawalas. My style is different. I don't want
Madhu, your style seems to be extremely one-sided. Because
I'm saying,
it's either your way or there's no other way.
I
now,
don't
the fact
wish
is that
to
if
be...
people are... If you look at what you gave NewsX, by any standards, it's not of any journalistic quality.
Most people don't think so. There are lakhs of people in India who are tired of
They may be, but that's not an alternative.
No. But Rajdeep Sardesai style of quizzing, people are sick and tired of.
I'm not comparing it to anybody.
But I'm doing different
comparing
things.
it to you. So how much did you get paid for it?
I'm saying Manushi. Firstly, I gave the money to Manushi.
How much was it?
Some total. It will be on our website. No, 12.5 lakhs check is all I got, which is what went to Manushi Trust. Now, I don't know what they've done after that. The agreement was they themselves from 5 raised it to 25. It's to go to Manushi. They gave me first check of 12.5, okay? Now, I haven't gotten anything, by the way. They were supposed to have given me...
Manushi is yours.
Wait a minute, it's a trust. It's not an enterprise. Please don't treat me...
But it didn't go to another trust. It went to your trust.
Excuse me. That's how Manushi has lived.
That's
my
fine.
royalties, my book royalties go to Manushi Trust. I don't earn from it. I give to social causes. And from day one, when we started with a salary of... I am a professor. I have a salary as a professor. I don't like to earn my living as a journalist because I do not wish to be part of it. You have to understand who I am. Don't judge me.
I'm trying, Madhu. I'm not judging you.
No,
I'm just trying to understand why you would give something of sub-quality to NewsX, and
You
they paid
think
you
it's the
12 lakhs.
quality?
I'm surprised that they paid that much.
I'm saying, please understand.
On a hyped up
your
version.
standards.
Okay, let's move on.
Let's
move on.
No, you
Okay,
have
answer.
decided. You have certain standards, okay? Or that certain standard, your standard is X, Y, Z. I'm saying I rejected that 30 years ago when I started Manushi. I don't wish to be part of that. It's like communists saying Gandhi didn't do this, he didn't live up to our standards, he didn't mobilize the working class in such and such way. But Gandhi
I don't know
wanted
what
to
you're
do
talking
certain
about.
things.
You've gone in 50 different directions. I don't know what Gandhi has to do with the Communist Party or anything
I'm
else.
saying
the
you have
point
to judge
here is
people by
that
the standards they say they are living by.
If you reject a certain format, it doesn't mean that you're allowed to do anything substandard.
Did I insist that
so
somebody...
now let's
if it's substandard for you, did I insist that anybody take it? Did I peddle it? Did I force it down? No, I didn't.
You made 12 lakhs out of it. It went to your organization. Fine, but the fact is...
it doesn't even cover the cost. 1 year of travel, what it costs to create that footage, transcription,
Then you shouldn't have given it to them.
What is your problem? Why, if everybody else is liking it, why are you getting a stomachache from it? Lakhs of people have liked it.
I think you're fooling yourself.
I'm saying, Madhu,
there are very few people who appreciated it. It was pretty clear that it was
you live in a very small world. Madhu,
let's not get
honestly.
personal, Madhu, because...
you are making it
Listen,
as
one
if-
second. The point here is that when you yourself objected to them hyping it to something which it wasn't, you put your finger on it yourself.
I stopped them from doing
Exactly,
it.
because
I
it was
had
hyped
to live by my
something-
standards.
Exactly, it was
not
hyped to
your
be
standards.
No.
I don't live by them.
But
I don't live
you
by
should
CNN,
live by some
IBM.
standards, right?
I do.
Now the
Which
point is
why
that
Manushi
why did you
has its
object? Because
own.
they were hyping it to something which it wasn't. That was it.
Madhu,
so you did have the same standards as
No,
me.
not yours.
Because you
no,
said
not yours.
You said that you
I'm
did
sorry,
not like
your
it.
standards are not my standards. And you can see my critique of your
Certainly,
standards.
my standard is not your stuff.
Even
what you
your
gave
news
there,
track,
of
you should
talking to
read my
yourself.
critique of your news track days. I'm
If
saying
I was going to
live.
if I was going to take your attitude and say I will not read it, I'm not interested. Lots of people appreciate me. That's your attitude.
Not me. People
You're saying-
want certain things.
You're saying this, that self-serving stuff. I'm not going to read anything that is negative. I'm only going to read things that people love me, love me, love me.
I'm
now,
not saying that.
Tell me one thing. You called up our office and said you were going to kacha chabao us. And you were going to kacha chabao Narendra Modi. Why did you want to chabao us?
I didn't say you. I said, no,
you said
please,
Abhinandan
ask
ko chabaoge?
Abhinandan, no. I said, because at this time, NDTV is involved, there's a big scam involving NDTV. They're not doing it directly. Thus far, Modi has not given any interview to NDTV. And there's a scam that people are fighting. Sanjay Srivastava is being hounded by NDTV at such a time. If Narendra Modi gives an interview to NDTV, an exclusive interview, we will all chew him up alive.
What
I
does
said that.
Sanjay Srivastava have to do with Modi?
It's not to do with Modi. It's
So
to do
why
with
is- if
NDTV and
NDTV
Chidambaram.
If NDTV is
Hounding an honest man.
what does it have to do with Modi?
It's a scam for which they've been caught and they're hounding him.
Can I ask you one question?
They're hounding an honest officer.
1 second. When you got these papers, as you said in your manushi.org, you got all these documents and you went or you sent someone from Manushi to go check out the defense colony address. And you found that there was no name of that person that was on the documents that were sent to you. Doesn't that send off alarm bells?
But they were documents. They were genuine documents.
No, they may be.
I checked with the lawyer.
One second.
I went to
One
Sanjay's
second.
lawyer.
You checked with the lawyer who sent it.
No.
So, चोर से जाके पूछो ये सब ठीक है?
But these are income tax department documents. They are not personal love letters of Sanjay.
Answer one question. You sent somebody to that place. There was no one of that name on that address.
I'm saying, but the documents are genuine.
No, answer my question.
I'm saying, but the documents are genuine.
How do you know if the person's name doesn't exist,
But
the address doesn't exist?
But
Why are the documents genuine?
Sanjay and the lawyer said these are
They made them
Sarkari
up.
documents.
They made up the documents.
Come on,
You go and
Madhu.
ask them, are they genuine?
Madhu, they've had to pay penalties. I'm saying why...
They've had to pay penalties?
Why are they explaining all this to Guru Murthy then?
Guru
Tell
Murthy,
me,
listen.
why have they not followed up the
Guru
case?
Murthy
They sent me a defamation suit. Why have they? Please,
Madhu,
I said,
one second.
I
Listen
challenge
to
you.
the
Go
question.
ahead.
Listen to the question. You have not answered the question that when you sent someone there, it was a fake name and a fake address.
But check the officers of the documents are right.
No, I'm talking about the
Documents.
address.
I'm saying,
It's
but
fake.
the documents are genuine.
I'm not talking about the documents.
But the documents
first
matter.
Step by
To
step.
Me, no.
Step
to
by
me,
step.
the documents.
A fake address and a fake
I'm
name
sorry,
means
the
nothing.
documents matter.